the OldPreMeds podcast, session number 189. You're a non-traditional student entering the medical field on your terms. You may have had some hiccups along the way, but now you're ready to change course and go back and serve others as a physician. This podcast is here to help answer your questions and help educate you on your non-traditional journey to becoming a physician. Welcome to the OldPreMeds podcast. My name is Dr. Ryan Gray, your host here every week, where I am privileged to take your questions and answer them here on the podcast. If you have a question, stay tuned to the end and I will tell you how you can ask a question. Today we have a student asking about being pregnant during interviews. She says, I will be 30 when I am applying to medical schools next year. I already have one son who is 15 months old, and my husband and I are planning on trying to have another before I enter medical school, hopefully in the fall of 2020. We want to have a second child in January or April, so that by the time I start, the baby will be hopefully sleeping through the night or close to it, have some of the important vaccinations to better protect him or her in daycare, etc. My husband has a flexible work schedule and will be the primary caregiver for our kiddos, and I will only be applying to medical schools in locations where we have family or friends because we will need a strong support system. Definitely. If all goes well and as planned, this may mean that I am visibly pregnant during medical school interviews. Does anyone know how that may affect me? I don't think schools can technically discriminate against pregnant women, but that doesn't mean that they don't, or that a pregnant person may be regarded as less likely to be successful in medical school because she will have a young infant. Thoughts, experiences, question? Thank you. So the question really comes down to what sort of biases are there in the medical school application process? I talk about this a lot. Students ask a lot, talking about disabilities, talking about mental health concerns in their personal statement, anywhere in their application. And then during interviews, being pregnant, right? What is that going to do to the perception of who you are as a student? And more importantly, your abilities, as this student said, your ability to complete medical school in 4 years, because that's what they want. They want you to complete medical school in 4 years. And so if you are pregnant during your interviews, great. Are there going to be schools that are going to look at that going, ooh, we have someone here who is pregnant, is going to have a kid. Maybe they know about your other kid, maybe they don't. And they may question your ability to be a medical student. Human nature, right? There are going to be those sorts of negative biases out there. And talking to a lot of people in this process, a lot of the negative bias actually comes from other women, surprisingly, right? They're like, especially other women who don't have kids yet. They're like, oh, you're having a kid now? Like, why aren't you putting your career first? Like I did. And then you'll have people all along the spectrum who are going to question your abilities. But on the flip side, you will also have people who will go, oh, that was very responsible of you. Thank you for having your baby before you start medical school, not during medical school when you're going to have to take time off. That shows some maturity. That shows some planning ability. That shows some organization. And they'll think that that's an amazing plan. So at the end of the day, you have to be you and live your life and understand that there may be people out there who are going to judge you. And there are going to be biases out there that may prevent you from getting into a medical school, not all medical schools, but maybe a specific one. But again, at the end of the day, you have to live your life. You have to be you. And so if you want another baby before medical school, more power to you. All right. Short and simple. That was an easy one in my mind. I think I get these questions a lot, whether it's having a baby, whether it's going to move to a specific part of the country, whatever the questions are. My answer almost always comes down to you do you. You live your life, and you can't be concerned about what the perception will be from the medical schools. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about like, hey, I want to go try some crack cocaine. How are medical schools? Is that going to hurt me getting into medical school? Like, well, probably, right? Especially if you get caught. You don't want to do that. But these kind of lifestyle choices, having a kid, not having a kid, moving to specific parts of the country, you do you, and you'll be okay. If you want to ask a question, go to medicalschoolhq.net, click on the forums, and find the non-traditional pre-med form where you can register for an account for free and ask your question. I hope you have a great week. We'll see you next time here on the Old Pre-Meds podcast.
This is MedEd Media.